I'm 27F, recently dating M36, but am I blinded by his bedroom performance? I, 27, met the perfect guy, 36M, but am I blinded by the bedroom? To make it short, I met the funniest person I've ever met in my life. Our first date he had me cry laughing. I felt very comfortable around him. Like when I went to his house, it was like we already knew each other. We fell asleep on the couch. We cuddled. We watched his fav movie and a horror film. I love horror films. He doesn't like them but still put one on. The thing is, I have the tendency of ignoring red flags if the guy is really amazing in bed. This guy is amazing at everything in the bedroom, but I had some reservations I'll put in point form. My friends thinks there are some red flags that I'm not taking into consideration. Before we even met, he kept going on about going on vacation together. He has 2 baby mama, which he said they're both amicable, but when we were at his house he said one won't let his daughter at his house. She's never been. He would have to go to her house to see his daughter for a few hours. He kept going on about how much money, good amount, he makes and that he owns 2 homes. Our first date he kept hiding his phone. Like everywhere he went. Even when he was cooking for me he would take his phone with him. I think he noticed that I noticed what he was doing and then sat beside me using his phone in my view. He asked me if I had a date before him because I asked to see him at 10 p.m. I thought he was joking, but he was dead serious. We were talking about fav artist and I mentioned mine, Post Malone, and he went on a rant about how unattractive he thinks Post Malone is. During our first date he kept bringing up inviting me to events in the summer like weddings and friends stuff. He has a very big package. Like the biggest I've ever seen, and went on about how I'm set when it comes to that part of him. He constantly mentioned how he took care of his past exes financially. He seemed overly excited about my looks. He kept bringing it up. I'm petite, not short but small frame. And I've modeled, so I'm used to strangers coming up to me and complimenting how I look, but he kept doing it the entire night. He has 3 dogs, who immediately loved me and would interrupt our conversation and wanted me to pet them a lot. He seemed to like it but then seemed to get jealous. These are just things I thought may be red flags, but I DK cause I'm also scared of not seeing it. Because I ignored it before with my ex and wasted years of my life. Edit. So to be clear, his second baby mama was his longtime GF. She was dating him when his son was a newborn. She got pregnant, moved 2 hours away and wanted him to come with her, but he refused because that meant giving up 50-50 custody of his son, who he's been there for since day one. So she wants him to see his daughter at her house with her so they can play family, but he just wants to see his daughter without being tricked into leaving his son to be a family with his ex and their daughter. He's a great day from everything I've seen at his house. Had a room prepared for a baby that has never been there. Yes, I agree with red flags, but I do not want it to come off like he's a bad father. 'Cause that would be a lie. Yeah, you're ignoring a lot for that, dick. Okay, so you tend to overlook red flags when the sex is good. It happens. A lot of us get caught up in that sort of thing and just the momentum of a new dynamic. But take a step back, breath, and then read this list, but pretend this is a friend coming to you for advice. How far into the list do you get before you tell her to stop and that this is a huge problem? Like he has shown signs he is insecure, that he is rushing things. He swings his big dick and wallet around despite the reality he clearly has a trail of bad decisions and kids in the wake of both of them. He fixates on you being hot, weird phone behavior, etc. All worrisome signs. Let alone the reality you even picked up that his dogs are enough to set him off. Plus you meeting a little later was enough to set him in a spiral, and you are barely into the relationship. That is something that only gets worse with time. Like time to get real. You've been in bad relationships, and that's because you let yourself be dazzled by sex and platitudes. You can't afford to go through that again. Right? If that is the case, maybe actually take these red flags seriously and see the clear pattern they are forming already. The fact that even with your tendency to overlook things you noticed so many says plenty. Surely. You only went on one date with this guy and have already found this many red flags and are confused? I think the real question is why you don't think you deserve more and won't walk away from this guy. It's sad to see you defend him with all these positive things you didn't mention when your post history shows you didn't even meet him 2 days ago. Get a grip and stop justifying this guy's already insane behavior. Those are a lot of red flags. And I'd pay attention if I were you. He is going too fast. He's sketch about his phone. He already has 2 kids and one can't come to him? And the jealousy thing. You've just met him and I promise it will get worse. And those are just the issues I bothered to touch on. He sounds like bad news to me. I'm immediately concerned you'll be baby mama number 3 and he'll be telling number 4 how well he took care of you by next summer. Your bar for a perfect guy is pretty low. These are just things I thought may be red flags, but IDK. You are not seeing it. Red flags all over the place. And you've listed so many. Funny and good in bed do not mitigate all of the iffy things you've listed. This is not a relationship guy. Would you want your best friend or sister to date him? Don't you think you deserve better? I'm a guy. Gone through the custody thing. No such BS as she won't let his daughter come over. All he has Toto is ask the court for it. They'll either give it to him or tell him, do X and Y first, then give it to him. Cost a couple hundred. Super easy. When someone tells you how big their penis is and how much money they make, they typically don't have much of either, and if they have any of either, it's either diseased or drug money. The man gets jealous of his own dogs? Please listen to your friends and take your own advice. Don't waste more years. Also, he sounds incredibly mature for someone who is almost 40. Yeah, don't trust this dude. I'm 36. Anyone who can't have their kid at their house is a big enough red flag to not even need the rest. If he was a decent dad, and makes as much money as he claims, he would have gone to court over that. Unless there's a reason he can't. Use birth control that can't be tampered with. Don't have unprotected sex with him, and I wouldn't trust him to use condoms properly. If I were in your shoes, that lack of trust would be the death blow to this relationship. Having kids with at least 2 different women that you know of. His comments about financially supporting his exes. Paying child support is the minimum he should be doing. Not something to brag about. And his bragging about everything else makes my skin crawl. Seems like he's a guy with a breeding fetish. Let's be real. He is hitting it right, and you are willing to overlook the red flags for how he makes you feel. You most likely won't drop him and will continue to get piped. So protect yourself and understand that disappointment is inevitable with someone like that. Good luck to you. If you like the sex, enjoy the sex, but too many red flags for a relationship. There's also the fact that most women his age would clearly see those bright red flags and run a mile. To him, your age is probably the second most attractive thing about you, because you're going to be less experienced, less confident to enforce your boundaries, and therefore, easier to manipulate. If you've not known him long and are already concerned by his behavior, then that's a pretty clear sign to end it. Chalk it up to experience. You had a laugh, had some good sex, but he's not long-term partner material for you. He has 2 baby mama, which he said they're both amicable, but when we were at his house he said one won't let his daughter at his house. She's never been. He would have to go to her house to see his daughter for a few hours. He kept going on about how much money, good amount, he makes and that he owns 2 homes. Both of these give me pause. If everything is good, why can't he spend a weekend or more with his daughter alone? There could be baby mama drama here, but there could also be a history of violence or worse. Also, why does he need to brag about his income? If he owns 2 homes, good for him. But why be a braggart? Seems he's trying to impress you a little too much. It could be that he's intimidated by, seemed overly excited about my looks. Also, does he own them or does he have 2 mortgages? Can he afford them or is he living off credit? During our first date he kept bringing up inviting me to events in the summer like weddings and friends stuff. Whoa there buddy, you just met the girl. This is way too fast and emo, not appropriate a topic to discuss during a first date. All in all, I don't know. He could be insecure and intimidated and just not handling it well. How do you feel about being baby mama number 3? And how do you feel when he's gonna be on the prowl for number 4? LMAO baby mama number 3 coming up. Girl, I'm going through a divorce right now because I was blinded by dick. I'm 31 years old and my entire dating history is ignoring blatant red flags because of good dick. People, like you and I, who wear rose-colored glasses for penis need to slow down and take sex off the table until we can get a good read on what flags men are flying. Your intuition knows. Don't ignore it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.